Welcome to today's broadcast of Carroll High School Athletics. This is CSBN, the Carroll Sports Broadcasting Network, the worldwide leader in Charger sports. Now, here are your Carroll Chargers.
Hello everybody and welcome to CSBN, your worldwide leader in Charger sports. I'm Nathan Weaver along with Austin Fox as we are set here to take the junior varsity basketball game between the Carroll Chargers and SB Adams. And Austin, I've been taking a look at the stadium tonight and I really love what they've done with the place. What do you think?
Oh, dude, this stadium is absolutely amazing. I really have no complaints about it. We get as far as CSBN goes, we get a great look and great view in this stadium. It's a double-decker gym. I mean, this thing is just absolutely state-of-the-art, and they really put in a lot of preparation into building this gym. This is a really cool gym.
As it is. And as I said earlier, this is the boys' junior varsity game, and we're going to be followed by the varsity boys game, the first varsity boys basketball game of the season.
And just to do the lineups real quick for your Carroll Chargers, it will be number 15, Tanner Ginder, playing guard. Number 21, Jonathan McKeeman. It'll be number 23, Adam Freiberger, also playing guard. Number 35, Blake Converset, will be playing at forward. And number 45, Dan Cavins, for your Carroll Chargers, are the starting lineups. And to give you the South Adams real quick, number 2 is going to be Michael Bush. Number 3, Mark Burks. Number 10, Stevie Thomas. Number 32, George Ellis. And number 34 will be Trent Tatum. So here you go, Nathan. Take it away.
After they get set, Carroll receives the ball, Seth. Cody Sheff is going to pass it. We're going to bring it down court.
23 was Adam Freiberger back there.
Freiberger. The ball's going to get stolen by number 3 of Adams. Oh, and stolen back.
And that was Mark Burks who ended up making the steal on that one, but as they tried to push the ball up the court, it's a turnover.
As Tanner Ginder is going to throw the ball in for your Carroll Chargers. Thrown into Dan Cavins. Tanner Ginder is going to get the ball there, but easily almost stolen there.
And Chargers are not taking care of the ball here in the early goings of this one.
The ball is going to be tossed around here, trying to find an opening here. That was a very good guarding by this Adams team right here. Here Dan Cavins right. Going to throw it back. Tanner Ginder going to go for the 3.
Ooh, just missed, but what a great rebound by Dan Cavins using his height underneath.
He's really sticking in there so far.
Dan Cavins is 6'4", so definitely using that height to his advantage as Carroll continues to pass the ball around.
And he's only a sophomore as well.
Absolutely.
And Tanner Ginder's going to try to shuffle the ball around here.
Boy, Michael Bush is really pressing hard on defense here in the early going.
Tanner Ginder for the 3. Oh.
Again, no good, but that was a tough rebound, but picked up by number 23, Adam Freiberger. And McKeeman knocks one down. Nicely done by McKeeman. The one starts with all the starters. Jonathan McKeeman knocking that one down. It'll be Michael Bush who's going to bring the ball up the court.
Michael Bush going to pass it back off to Mark Burks. Mark Burks going to go for the 3. Misses. A nice rebound by Stevie Thomas. Going to give the ball back to Mark Burks. He's going to try to find an opening here. Stevie Thomas almost loses the ball and, in fact, just throws it out of bounds.
Absolutely, but you want to know on the Chargers' first bucket of the game, they got 2 offensive rebounds there, Nathan. That is absolutely what the Chargers are going to need to have success for today. They get 2 offensive rebounds before Jonathan McKeeman buries in a bucket. Great job done by your Carroll Chargers junior varsity team, and they'll bring the ball up the court with a 2-0 lead early goings.
Adam Feinberger going to pass it off. And he's struggling a little bit to find an opening. Back to number 35, Blake Converset. They're going to call it travel.
Yep,
Blake Converset.
And Blake Converset just got underneath there and couldn't control his feet. And Blake Converset, another one of the Charger big men, he's 6'1".
Well, it was a beautiful pass. It was just a bad mistake there by Converset.
Yeah, and that was just maybe an easy shot that just wouldn't go. I mean, he was right underneath the back of the bucket that time, so.
Bush going to bring down the court. Bush has the ball. The shuffle around here. Back to Thomas. Thomas for the 3. He's going to hit off the rim here. He's going to get the ball back.
Well,
And throw it off of Tanner Ginder out of bounds.
Great defense by Tanner Ginder coming over. He slips as he's trying to go for one of the steals, and then he comes back, redeems himself, knocks the ball out of bounds off an errant pass. South Adams is really struggling here in the early goings to find a rhythm.
Oh, Dan Cavan's almost with a nice steal there, but McKeeman's going to bring it down court.
Oh, what a great job by this Charger offense.
To Feinberger. Feinberger misses the easy layup, and McKeenan follows him up for the easy layup there after Feinberger misses it.
Well, Jonathan McKeeman now with 4 points, all of them in today's game. But what that started was Dan Cavins forcing a turnover, and Jonathan McKeeman picks it up for the steal, gets a beautiful pass to Freiberger, miss it, but what a great heads-up play by Jonathan McKeeman, following up Freiberger, and knocks it down, and the Chargers lead 4-0 as Mark Brooks will throw it in.
And an easy layup for number 34, Trent Tatum. And as I noticed so far for the South Adams team, they've really just been tossing the ball up. They haven't had really any direction with the ball. And they haven't, Carroll has done a really good job at with their defense, and hopefully they can keep this up.
And yeah, absolutely. Mark Burks gets charged with the personal foul on that play. It was Freiberger who was trying to take the ball, and really, as Mark Brooks just kind of manned him up. And then as South Adams got their first bucket from Trent Tatum really just manned up off the defender for the Chargers. And great defense by Michael Bush, knocking the ball away from McKeeman there for the Chargers.
And Tanner Ginder going to throw the ball in for your Carroll Chargers. Ball's going to be thrown over to Jonathan McKeeman. It's going to be defended back. We're going to bring it back up. Going to throw it off to Adam Feinberger. Back to Dan Cavins. Fouled and misses.
No, travel.
Travel. That's two. If I correctly, that's 2 travels for the Carroll Chargers in this first quarter.
Yeah, and on the Charger big man, they go to Blake Conversett early on. He travels, and then as really just a tough place for Dan Cavins to be. He's trying to force up a shot and get something going. He steps one too many times, and that's a turnover. So the second turnover of the game by the Chargers.
And this is a very young team for the Carroll Chargers, except for McKeeman and Ginder. They have a very young lineup, so they'll learn in time.
Absolutely.
But Michael Bush has the ball right now for South Adams. He's going to bring it up.
Well, right now, Michael Bush is going to make some moves. Trent Tatum just knocks down his second bucket of the game, so now he's got 4 as well. But Michael Bush is really what made that happen, as Mark Brooks almost makes a steal, but he comes in, splits the Carroll defense, and then finds Trent Tatum for the easy lay-in.
Tanner Ginder for the 3.
Boom, baby!
I think they're going to count that as a 2 because he's
No, they're going to count that as a 3. Boom, baby! Tanner Ginder knocking down the 3.
Looked like from up here he stepped on the line, but obviously not.
And we've got a whistle down on the floor. Looks like one of the South Adams players stepped out. South Bend Adams and the Carroll Chargers. So now we do have some substitutions coming in on the floor. Keller Gutierrez, number 41, will be coming in alongside with number 11.
Tony Orr.
And coming out is 23, Adam Freiberger, and number 45, Dan Cavins.
As we have Tanner Ginder is going to pass it in.
And Keller Gutierrez will get it.
Right to Ginder. Ginder's going to give it off to McKeeman. Heavy defense here by South Adams. Off to Tony Orr. Back to Conversett. Going to get blocked.
Now blocked from behind by 32, George Ellis, who's finally starting to get some action, but down on the other end, he just steps out and lost the control of the basketball. But George Ellis really hasn't done anything in the early goings of this game, but got a block in off of Blake Conversett and then carried the ball down the court before he ends up losing it, fortunately for your Chargers.
Conversett to McKeeman. McKeeman's going to drive it down court.
And lost it again. Lost it again and again to George Ellis with his second steal of the game.
Michael Bush for the 3. He's going to miss. Nice rebound by Blake Conversett, but Gutierrez got a hand on that one.
Chargers got to get the ball across half court here. These South Bend Adams really playing good defense. George Ellis had back-to-back steals for the fifth Carroll turnover of the game. And then, coming back the other way, Blake Converset got tangled up with one of his own guys, and luckily the Chargers came away with the rebound. But this has been a very physical game. South Bend is not giving the Chargers anything at all, and this has looked very physical, and the Chargers lead it by 3, but it's been hard fought, and they've had to be patient.
McKeeman with the ball, going to pass it off to Tony Orr. Tony Orr going to throw it right back to Gutierrez. Converset. Carroll Chargers are pushed back right now. Can't seem to get the open man. It's McKeeman.
And he's fouled by Michael Bush, who has been playing lights out as far as defense goes.
Well, we've noticed very sloppy work, as you said, by the Carroll Chargers right now. Not really handling the ball too well.
Well, with this frenetic sense of play, and I don't think the Chargers were expecting this when they came in to play today, I think it's caused a lot of sloppiness because South Bend's turned the ball over as well, and they're really forcing the Chargers to play at an up-tempo pace. But boom, baby, Jonathan McKeeman getting his 7th point of the ball game with a 3.
And right back at you, number 32, George Ellis.
And they will count the bucket, so as the horn sounds, George Ellis knocks down a 2. And that is the end of 1 for Austin Fox and Nathan Weaver. This is CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
You're listening to CSBN, the Carroll Sports Broadcasting Network, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
So how about that first quarter there, Nathan Weaver?
Well, we noticed Carroll at first started off really good with, getting the outside shot and giving it. But they've had trouble with the ball. Very sloppy. They lost the ball 5 times, and they've traveled twice by the big man in the middle, Dan Cavins and Blake Converset. But if Carroll can reduce the errors and reduce the sloppiness in their offense, it'll help them a lot in the second quarter and hopefully gain their lead here. They lead 10-6 over South Adams. South Adams has done really good at defense. They're very hard on the Carroll Chargers right now, and they can't seem to get a shot off.
Absolutely, and don't expect the South Bend Adams junior varsity basketball team to give up at any point in this game, and they're going to continue to make the Chargers go at a frenetic pace, and you saw the Chargers get a late 3 from McKeeman to give him 7. South Bend didn't send back. You got to give them credit for going right back down the court in less than 5 seconds and giving George Ellis a wide open look at the bucket for his first 2 points of the game.
And here we are to take you to the second quarter.
Keller Gutierrez in there with number 35, Blake Converset, Jonathan McKeeman.
A new sub in for
Chargers. It's number 5, Chris Terry, and now I'm not sure. Looks like there's something wrong with the clock, and the score clock mixed up. We just heard a big horn sound right in the middle of the play, and that was just a mess up on the scoreboard with the timekeeper's part.
And also coming in for South Adams is number 12, Chris Davis, and number 22, Juwan Johnson.
Right now, just looking up at the scoreboard, there's number 22 that's in as well, and I don't have that one up there. Number 22 is Juwan Johnson, as you said, and then, of course, number 43 is Matt Gray. He's not on there, so right now and then again, number 12 is Chris Davis. All 3 of those South Bend Adams players just really not even on there on the scoreboard up ahead, so there is some confusion down there on the scorers table as the Chargers will get it back after one of the South Bend Adams players fell down and really just threw away a pass. And they're going to say right now that number 10, Stevie Thomas, got too close to to number 11, Tony Orr, when he was trying to throw in the ball.
You don't see that too often.
No, you don't. But Jonathan McKeeman gets it in. And boy, has South Bend really been playing hard. Blake Converset underneath, misses an easy bucket.
That's his 3rd easy layup that he's missed this game, and he's very he needs to get that. He needs to get that going right there. But number 22, Juwan Johnson has the ball. He's gonna try to shuffle it, pass off to Davis. Davis is going to give it off to number 32, Georgia Ellis.
And Ellis is fouled. And they're going to nail Tony Orr. And boy, just talking about it being so quiet in these junior varsity games. Really just real quiet.
We do see some Neon Nation here tonight, but
we do see some, but expect them to be out in full force for the varsity game, where we hope that if you're at home and you're enjoying this broadcast, that you'll check out that one on the podcast, as 23 Adam Freiberger and number 45 Dan Cavins will come into the game. So if you're enjoying this game, check out all the other Charger podcasts, CSBN podcast. And I'm sure that you will be regaled as
Dan Cavins get the rebound off that missed field.
And that time, 0-for-2, shooting the free throws. Oh, how about that move by Dan Cavins in underneath, left-hander to get it to go. That's pretty impressive.
Reminds me of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar right there, the hook shot.
Oh, absolutely. Great job by Dan Cavins, giving the Chargers a 6-point lead.
As Tony Orr is going to throw the ball in for your Carroll Chargers.
South Bend has been playing at such a frenetic pace that they themselves have turned the ball over a lot. And they have looked really undisciplined. They're just going at it. And now we got another foul on 32, George Ellis that time. No, excuse me, Jawan Johnson, who gets to pick up the foul.
South Adams is just really sloppy with their footwork, and they're doing really worse. They're throwing the ball out a lot of times this game, and that time a really hard foul there by Jawan Johnson to Tony Orr.
Absolutely, and if this junior varsity game is any indication of how the varsity game will play out, I'm sure it'll be at a frenetic pace.
Over to number 5, Eric Ward. Eric Ward's going to pass it over to Tony Orr. Tony Orr's going to lose the ball but get it back. Eric Ward going to drive in. Misses his jump shot.
Chris Terry had it on the near side and just get enough arc on the ball that time. And I think that will be Color Gutierrez, No, they're going to give it to Stevie Thomas, his first. So the Chargers only have one team foul, and the South Bend Adams Junior Varsity Club has 4 so far, and quickly comes Chris Terry.
Back over to Tony Orr. Going to pass it over to
Freiberger.
Freiberger off to Gutierrez. Gutierrez to Tony Orr for the 3.
Ooh, in and out. Chargers have hit both threes from the far corner. And they just unable to make that one go from the exact same corner. Again, the Chargers going from right to left. Excuse me, from left to right. South Bend Adams from right to left.
Juwan Johnson going to drive in. His jump shot is missed. Rebound by Adam Freiberger. And he's going to bring it back down the court, back to Tony Orr for the 2.
Oh, how about that one from Tony Orr? That's stepping up with confidence and knocking that one down.
And that's his first bucket of the game. As right now with the ball is Juwan Johnson. He's going to shuffle around. Going to pass it off to number 12, Chris Davis. Chris Davis is going to get fouled.
And that is Dan Cavins, who I thought from the first look that he might have had a clean block on that one. But no, they're going to say he doesn't.
And his body just drove into Chris Davis there.
Well, the Chargers going to substitute in mass. It'll be number 43, Zach Fitro, coming in. Alongside with Blake Converset will check back in. And Jonathan McKeeman, I believe, is the other Carroll Charger player to come back into the game.
Johnson with the ball. He's going to use some shuffle steps. Going to pass it off to Mark Burks. Mark Burks for the 3. Nice rebound by Tony Orr.
Tony Orr has just been playing outstanding in this game, although he hasn't looked at it from the point standpoint.
And McKeeman with the 3! What a nice 3 there by McKeeman.
his second three of the game. And how about Jonathan McKeeman with 10 points in today's contest?
Very good game by...
And they're going to call a travel on Juwan Johnson.
McKeeman is just being effective in all areas of this game today.
Absolutely, and we've got a timeout, but we'll keep it here. But when I talked about Tony Orr right before Jonathan McKeeman knocks down that three, he was able to open it up, kick out a pass on the corner, and really set that up. Jonathan McKeeman reads it well, comes over, buries the jumper, and definitely what the Chargers won, especially they lead by 11, 17-6, and South Bend hasn't been able to get anything going since the Chargers led 4-0 when they were able to tie it back up.
And as for this timeout, each team here is going to slow down, and especially for South Adams, the coach is probably going to tell them to calm down a little bit because they've been really trying to get the ball too quickly, and they've been fouling. They have 4 fouls in this quarter, and they really need to slow down the pace here and take their time.
Never know what Doug Barnbrook will tell his club. He's, of course, the junior varsity coach for the South Bend Adams High School junior varsity team, and Ryan Abbott, the junior varsity coach for your Carroll Chargers junior varsity team. It will be Tony Orr to throw it in.
A terrible pass there, Tony Orr to Feinberger, but Feinberger is going to give it back to Tony Orr.
Well, that pass looked a little bit mediated, trying to get a long pass to maybe get a nice, easy converset, pick it up, lay it in, but that was great defense by the South Bend Adams.
McKeeman's going to pass it off to Tony Orr. Tony Orr is going to pass it right back in to Zach Fitro. And right now, Jonathan McKeeman with the ball.
Oh, and that was a bad pass. He was looking for Adam Freiberger. Missed it, but we got a turnover at midcourt. And then we have another turnover underneath. Boy, Freiberger was looking for the shot before he had it all the way. And Fitro turns it over as well. Forces the steal. Now it's up to McKeeman.
Drive-in foul.
No bucket, no bucket, no bucket. They're going to say no bucket. He was fouled before the shot. Ooh, I don't know. I would have to say that I don't agree with that call. I thought he was fouled on the way up.
That was a very bad call. I don't agree with that at all either. I felt like as soon as he was fouled, he threw that ball up there, but obviously the refs don't agree with that. But what happened with those turnovers there is Jonathan McKeeman was going to give an easy pass down to Fitro, and as that ball was stolen, McKeeman jumped up and attempted to steal it back, and he stole it back, threw it back down to Fitro, and Fitro was not able to hold control of it. But
well, how about Dan Cavins getting right in, laying it up just as soon as he was subbed in for Blake Fitro, and as well coming back into the game, actually coming in for the first time, is Jordan Kerner, the forward. He's a sophomore.
Very nice rebound
by Kerner. He went up there and pulled it down with one hand.
McKeeman going to drive the car back to Tony Orr. Tony Orr is going to give it back over to McKeeman for the three.
Oh, just short. And as he was going for the long rebound off the near side, unable to get it. So the score is 19-6. The Chargers in firm control and trying to put this thing into cruise control, and we're only in the second quarter.
Burke's going to bring it down the court for South Bend Adams. Going to pass it over to Juwan Johnson for the three. He's going to hit the rim and go off. McKeeman with the ball, going to shuffle step and bring it down court.
Down on that rebound on the South Bend Adams side, you just saw Blake Cavins high. Oh, how about it again?
What a nice pass from McKeeman right down
Dan Cavins
for the easy layup. And now your Chargers lead 21-6.
Dan Cavins has been playing both sides of the court now. 2 straight rebounds and a bucket. He's been playing outstanding, and you're going to see McKeeman slow it down a little bit. The Chargers came in. They've scored 11 points in this quarter, and they've held South Bend Adams to nothing. And we're under 30 seconds, and the Chargers are going to try and hold for the last shot.
With 22 seconds to go, McKeeman with the ball going to turn it.
And now we've got a timeout
by the Carroll Chargers here.
So keep it here for the timeout. And
30 seconds.
It will be a 30-second timeout. But this Charger team has really figured out the South Bend Adams here in the second quarter so far. They haven't allowed them to score. There's 19.6 seconds left on the clock. They'll have all of that to get off a shot. And if they can hold South Bend Adams scoreless here in the second, that would be truly a feat.
Well, basically, the Chargers haven't really made any mistakes, and they've really taken effect into this second quarter. But
I'm looking up at the scoreboard right now, and the South Bend Adams don't have one player on the court who's actually had a bucket in today's game. So, coming back out of the timeout. All right, and here comes number 31, Jordan Kerner, to throw it in. He'll get it in over to Jonathan McKeeman.
McKeeman with the ball, going to pass it way out. Tony Orr down the key, but no, excuse me. It's being passed to Kerner, but it's going to be through.
Yeah, that was not a good play by Jordan Kerner, as Adam Freiberger will come in for Kerner. And corner being taken out, exhorted by the coach, Ryan Abbott. But he just really has the ball, and he doesn't control it all the way. Now, you could say some for the pass, but you got to control the ball when you get a chance like that underneath. And now you're giving South Bend Adams to maybe... a steal by McKeeman.
Down, Tony Orr going to bring it down the key for easy layup. And your Carroll Chargers at the buzzer. 23-6, they lead.
Absolutely, and that will mean we go into halftime as Tony Orr now with 4 points in today's game. We will be back in just a moment. Austin Fox and Nathan Weaver, this is CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
You're listening to CSBN, the Carroll Sports Broadcasting Network, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
Charger fans, this is Austin Fox with your halftime report here at the junior varsity basketball game between your Carroll Chargers and the South Bend Adams. So far, the Carroll Chargers have staked themselves up to a 23-6 lead, and that's been thanks to a lot of different players. But most importantly, the 10 points of Jonathan McKeeman has been absolutely huge. Tony Orr's been in there as well. He's had 4. Number 15, Tanner Genders added a 3, and number 45, Dan Cavins has had 6, and that rounds out the scoring for your Carroll Chargers. For the South Bend Adams, they do not have that many points. They only have 6, and they are being led by number 34, Trent Tatum, who has 4 points in this game. They've also gotten 2 from George Ellis, and all their scoring came in the first quarter. So that's what it's looked like for your Carroll Chargers. So for Austin Fox and my Nathan Weaver, we will get back to you with the start of the second half in just a moment. We hope that you've been enjoying this broadcast, Charger fans. Back in a moment with your second half.
You're listening to CSBN, the Carroll Sports Broadcasting Network, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to CSBN, your worldwide leader in Charger sports. Again, I'm Nathan Weaver along with Austin Fox as your JV Carroll Chargers boys basketball team is ahead 23-6 from the first half, and now we're set to take you to the second half. Your leading scorers, number 24, Jonathan McKeeman, and of course number 34, Trent Tatum. Not a very good half for South Adams, but here we go to start the second.
And Michael Bush will be alongside Mark Book, Stevie Thomas, and of course George Ellis, and 34, Trent Tatum for the South Bend Adams starters, and the Chargers starters will be Tanner Gender, Jonathan McKeeman, Adam Freiberger, Blake Conversett, and Dan Cavins.
And a ball from Mark Burks to George Ellis was knocked out of bounds by Jonathan McKeeman. Mark Burks will throw it back in. And number 34, Trent Tatum, will get fouled by number 35, Blake Conversett.
Right underneath, saw Mark Burks throw that one in and just throw it right on pass, but Conversett got a little too pushy.
Michael Bush, not going to bring it down court, back to Stevie Thomas. Stevie Thomas going to attempt to drive George Ellis.
It's an air ball, and
it's going to be a travel by George Ellis there. Tanner Ginder's going to throw the ball in for your Carroll Chargers. Got to find someone open here quick or they're going to get a penalty. There we go. Off to Jonathan McKeeman. He's going to lose the ball, but back to the Chargers. Dan Cavins with the pickup. Tanner Ginder going to look like he's going to get fouled by Stevie Thomas.
And he's not too happy about that, but he'll pick up his second. Boy, the Chargers really pressured there, and McKeeman made one of his few mistakes in today's game, and as he coughed up the basketball, and now we got a whistle, and now we got a shoving call off of a Carroll Charger player, so it'll be going back the other way. They're going to nail number 23, Adam Freiberger, with it.
Carroll foul number 23, Adam.
And that looks like it's going to give DeMarc Burks to throw in for South Adams. Going to throw it back off to Michael Bush. South Bend here going to try to find an opening in the second half, but they didn't have
an air ball by Michael Bush.
They didn't have too much of a opportunity in the first half. They only created 6 points, but back to the Carroll Chargers. McKeeman off to Ginder. Ginder going to drive in, jump shot, missed, and a rebound by Freiberger. Going to give it back to Tanner Ginder. Off to Blake Converset. Back over to Freiberger. McKeeman with the ball now. Going to get pushed back by Michael Bush. Freiberger with the ball here, trying to find an open Charger. Tanner Ginder going to pass it right down the key to
Cavins.
Now Freiberger with the ball. Ginder.
Chargers in a frenetic passing attack right now.
Got to get the ball off soon here. Converset with the ball, going to pass it off to Freiberger. Freiberger off to McKeeman.
With no shot clock, the Chargers can pass as much as they want, but they
Cavins over to Freiberger. Freiberger going to attempt to shoot there, but give it off to Tanner Ginder. Freiberger almost fouled. Going to give off to Dan Cavins, but I think they're going to give a call pushing to Freiberger here.
Absolutely. The Chargers passed it at least 50 times.
Actually looks like they're going to give that off to number 34, Trent Tatum of South Bend Adams.
And that is his first personal. So McKeeman to throw it in. He'll get it into Tanner.
Tanner for the three.
Boom!
Boom! Woo! What a nice three there by Tanner Ginder. And now the Chargers are ahead by 20 points here, 26-6. South Bend Adams going to bring the ball down. Michael Bush going to drive it in. Going to get blocked by Dan Cavins, but also fouled.
Looks like Converset or Cavins will get the personal. The South Bend Adams have not had a bucket in 3 minutes, 6 minutes, and 2 seconds.
Looks like that's going to be on Cavins, first foul of the half.
Take that back. 5 minutes and 2 seconds since the South Bend Adams have got a point. And they get one there when Bush gets his first of the game. But as well, South Bend has not had a field goal since there was no time left in the first quarter, and with 3:58 to go.
But if I may take a look over to the fan base over there, the Carroll Chargers Neon Nation has filled up really quickly.
All the anticipation of this game, and we got another foul, it looks like. Or I take that back. I think one of the Charger players jumped out too early. Was Cavins, I believe.
Michael Bush is going to miss his second foul shot. A nice rebound by Converset off to McKeeman. McKeeman's going to drive the court and give it to Converset.
What a beautiful pass.
Converset, attempted to pass over to Dan Cavins, but blocked out of bounds by number 32, George Ellis.
And Keller Gutierrez coming into the game.
He's going to replace Dan Cavins. And here we go. Tanner Ginder's going to throw the ball in for Chargers here. Off to Blake Converset. Blake Converset struggling to find an open Charger here. Off to Freiberger. Now off to Ginder. Nice defense here by South Bend, but McKeeman almost stolen from got it to Freiberger. Freiberger for the three misses. Nice rebound by Converset. Off to Tanner Ginder. Tanner Ginder going to move to McKeeman for the three.
Ooh, in and out.
Almost McKeeman's third three there.
And it's knocked out of bounds, so to go back to the Chargers anyway. McKeeman leads all scorers with 10 points in this game. The Chargers lead 26-7. 3 minutes, 24 seconds left in the first half. In the third quarter.
Ginder off to Converset, off to McKeeman, now off to Freiberger. Back to Tanner Ginder for the three. Missed. It's going to be thrown over to McKeeman, but
well, McKeeman was going for the rebound that time, and he was fighting Stevie Thomas, and they're going to say he was the one who had control of the basketball and stepped out of bounds, not Stevie Thomas. And McKeeman thought that he didn't have control of it, but the refs say, in fact, it was McKeeman, so the ball will be going back to the South Bend Adams.
And to throw it in is George Ellis. Off to Bush. Bush is going to bring it down court right. Going to throw it down to Mark Burks, but stolen by McKeeman. Off to Freiberger for the easy layup, and your Carroll Chargers are ahead now 28-7 with 2:59 left in the third quarter. Bush is going to drive in. Ooh, a hard foul there by McKeeman.
No, he's going to go back the Chargers' way because he traveled.
Oh, it looked like it was a really hard foul there by McKeeman. He attempted to steal the ball, but
we got a timeout. On the floor by the South Bend Adams team. Back in a moment. CSBN, worldwide leader in Charger Sports.
You're listening to CSBN, the Carroll Sports Broadcasting Network, the worldwide leader in Charger Sports.
Welcome back to CSBN. We're going to set you off with 2 minutes and 56 seconds left in the third quarter. Your Carroll Chargers again are ahead 28-7. Carroll Chargers lead in fouls with 3, and South Bend Adams has 2. Here to throw it in is Tanner Gender. Got to pass it way down to Blake Converset. He's going to drive in.
And lose the ball out of bounds.
And he's going to get fouled by number 32, George Ellis.
And that was a baseball pass from Tanner Gender.
Right into the hands of Blake Converset there, but he just wasn't fast enough to get to the bucket there. But Tanner Gender going to throw the ball in. Down here, attempted to go to Blake Converset, but stolen by Trent Tatum. Now Bush for the 3, going to miss it. Nice rebound by Mark Burks, but there's going to be a foul here.
It's going to be, I believe, on Blake Converset. I think they just pointed to him.
Looks like it is going to be Blake Converset.
And yes, it is his second. Bucket, it does not count it.
And here we go.
What started that coming back the other way was Tanner Gender really tried to force a pass in where there wasn't any room. So
Burke's going to go attempt the 3. He's going to miss, as of every South Bend Adams chances do. But Tony Orr's going to get the ball down. Gonna deflect it off to Blake Converset, but McKeeman's going to pick up the ball and he's going to lose it.
They're going to whistle, I think, Blake Converset again. There's number 22, Jawan Johnson.
It's going to be a foul call on Jawan Johnson there.
Not really sure what the call was. Jawan Johnson keeps it. Will come in, but the Chargers keep the ball. I thought there was a foul on
McKeeman for the 3.
It was way too long, and Converset gets it back, but that was just he had nowhere to go with it underneath. Had about 3 red jerseys around him where he just couldn't put that one up.
And Bush going to bring it down the court. Going to pass it off to Thomas, right back to Bush. Bush off to Ellis. Ellis off to Tatum. Tatum's going to throw it back to Thomas for a 3, but he misses once again. And we see right here in this second half that, and even including the first half, that South Bend Adams has been really struggling on the outside shot. Most of their shots have come in from easy layups, but they really haven't had much success on the outside shot.
Absolutely, and really, South Bend's had some good looks.
And coming in for your Chargers is Chris Terry. Tanner Gainer is going to bring the ball down the court. And also number 43, Zach Fitro. Tony Orr going to throw it off to Gutierrez. Almost stolen, but Gutierrez is going to drive in. Going to miss off to Chris Terry. Now to Tanner Ginder. Tanner Ginder is going to throw it all the way back to Chris Terry. Chris Terry is going to throw it back to Tony Orr.
Oh,
and bad pass by Tony Orr to Gutierrez.
Chargers cannot get sloppy here. They cannot get sloppy. They're getting really sloppy. They're passing a lot because of good pressure. And now we're going to get a foul as Zach Fitro hits the floor hard. Trent Tatum just knocks him over as he was going for a steal.
Looks like Fitro tripped a little bit there too, because he got got off on one leg and just went down to the ground.
Well, Trent Tatum, he just threw his weight around that time. Trent Tatum is 185 pounds and just really just put all 185 of it into him.
And Fitro going to get fouled here. He doesn't make the shot.
And Fitro looks to be limping slightly.
Adams foul number 34, Trent Tatum, his third.
But he did fall pretty hard on that play.
Number 43, Zach Vitro, shooting.
And you're seeing some frustration from South Bend, I think, a little bit. They are still playing good defense, but they're really going hard right now, and the Chargers trying to break it with passing.
And I've really noticed over in the fan base, the Neon Nation is really filled up and getting ready for this boys varsity home opener.
Absolutely.
And Fitro going to go for his second foul shot here. He's going to miss it. And now back to South Bend Adams. Michael Bush is going to bring the ball down the court. He's going to do a little bit of a turn. Going to throw it up
down the first field goal since the end of the first quarter.
What a beautiful shot there by Michael Bush. He turned a little bit and got the shot off there. But Tony Orr with the ball now. He's going to pass off to Tanner Ginder.
These refs are really calling a loose game because South Bend Adams is really getting away with a lot of pushing off of players. And now we got a foul on Stevie Thomas where he just reaches in. But these Charger players are really getting pushed a lot as Freiberger and Jordan Kerner will come in. And that was why Tanner Ginder had a harder time throwing it in. So if the varsity game turns out different, because we're going to have some different refs, it depends on how the refs are going to call the game, but they're calling this one really loose, where South Bend Adams is getting away with a lot of pushing and a lot of body-to-body contact.
Gutierrez with the ball, and coming in for your Chargers, 31, Jordan Kerner. Feinberger with the ball, lost it a little bit there. Now back off the... Looks like it was going to Gutierrez, but stolen. Number 10, Stevie Thomas is going to bring it down the court, fouled by...
Jordan Kerner.
Looks like it's going to be Kerner there. That's going to be a throw-in. That's going to be Carroll Chargers' 15th foul. But South Bend Adams still leads with 6.
Absolutely, and again, not a tightly called game at all because there are several cases where fouls could have been called and the refs calling it something else down there on the floor right now. So they're definitely...
Ellis with the ball, going to throw it. Now number 22, Juwan Johnson attempts a 3. Misses it. Gutierrez with a nice rebound. Now off to Kerner.
He was wide open. This is how bad South Bend's shooting right now, as Chris Terry got a terrible-looking pass from Freiberger and couldn't stay in bounds. But South Bend Adams, they've gotten some good looks. They've only knocked down 1 field goal in the last 2 quarters. And they've scored only 3 points. And with 7.5 seconds left, unless they get a bucket here, they've only managed 3 points in 2 quarters.
Definitely, and Bush is going to throw it off, which it should have been a foul call there on Feinberger. He was all over Bush there.
That one, and again, that just tells you how lightly this game's been called, but that will do it for the third quarter, and the Carroll Chargers lead 28-9. The Chargers pick up only 5 points in that quarter, so a low-scoring quarter overall as South Bend Adams came out with a frenetic pace. And we'll be back in a moment. You're listening to CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
You're listening to CSBN, the Carroll Sports Broadcasting Network, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
And welcome back to CSBN, your worldwide leader in Charger sports. Again, I'm Nathan Weaver along with Austin Fox. Your starting lineups for the fourth quarter: number 41, Gutierrez; number 35, Blake Converset; number 23, Adam Feinberger; number 21 is going to be Jonathan McKeeman. And it looks like number 31 again, Jordan Kerner. As McKeeman with the ball now. He's going to drive it down court. Now off to Gutierrez. Now to Kerner. Ooh, an easy, wide open layup right off of the rim there. And now South Bend Adams has a chance to score here. South Bend Adams' own Bush is going to throw it off to Chris Davis. And that's a new substitute in for the fourth quarter. Davis with 3. And he's going to miss. Again, that outside shooting for South Bend Adams is off tonight. As Freiberger's going to bring the ball down the court. Going to get, looks like, should have been fouled here a long time ago. Not sure who they're going to give it to here. Freiberger was fouled all over by number 32, George Ellis and Chris Davis. But starting lineup for South Bend Adams, number 12, Chris Davis. Number 43, Matt Gray. Number 22, Juwan Johnson. Number 32, George Ellis.
And on that foul that they called, and we get a timeout here real quick, but we'll keep it here. On that timeout, on that foul, Freiberger was getting killed, but as he was bringing the ball up the court, it was Chris Davis who just really just smacks him across the back with his fist as Freiberger put a spin move on him. And that could have been called a foul. So you're definitely seeing a lot of contact that's going uncalled in this game. The refs are letting them play. That plays to South Bend's advantage. They just haven't knocked down any shots. They've had several wide open looks, but they haven't knocked them down. They've had at least 6 or 7 threes that they could have put in, and that would have made this a totally different ball game.
And here we are. Tannergan is substitute here. He's going to throw it into Jonathan McKeeman off to Gutierrez, but there's going to be a foul called on Davis here. As he fouled, it looks like he fouled McKeeman and he was trying to pass the ball off to, pass it off back to Tanner Gander there. Here's McKeeman. That's South Bend Adams' 17th foul of this half.
So it's going to be a 1-and-1. So if he makes it, he gets another look. And he doesn't. And the rebound was actually tipped in, but they're going to say no, a Carroll Charger player jumped too early.
And, yeah, it looked like Gutierrez there just tipped the ball in after the ball was missed. But here we have Michael Bush. Going to bring the ball down the court. Going to throw a terrible pass over to Matt Gray. And it's coming back to Carroll Chargers. And McKeeman's going to bring the ball down the court. Going to throw it off to Freiberger. Freiberger going to drive it down to the key. He's going to miss an easy layup in and out. As there's going to be a foul called here. Looks like it's going to be on number 43, Matt Gray.
43, Matt Gray is first.
And Adam Freiberger is going to get a shot here.
Shooting 2.
He's going to shoot 2 here. First shot. In. Very good shot. And that's going to be his third shot. Freiberger's third shot bucket of the game. Hopefully he can add on to that with the second foul shot. The second. Up. And in. 2 for 2. South Bend Adams is going to bring the ball down the court. Michael Bush going to pass it off to Davis. Davis is going to look for the opening here. Going to attempt to drive. We're going to pass it over to George Ellis. George Ellis is going to travel.
And this is really great defense by the Carroll Chargers. They are playing good defense right now, and they're just going to try and break through this South Bend Adams defense here in the fourth quarter. Obviously not letting anything up, but we got another baseball pass that Freiberger just hauls in before he almost ran out of bounds. And then with a beautiful looking pass that was nearly stolen, but in the hands of Dan Cavins that time. So the Chargers will slow it up.
Freiberger with the ball over to McKeeman. McKeeman's going to drive to the key. Easy layup missed. Going to struggle for the ball.
And it is a jump ball, and I believe it's going to go to the South Bend Adams team.
Looks like they're going, yeah, looks like they're going to give it to South Bend Adams here.
And the Chargers started this quarter with the basketball, so that means South Bend Adams will be getting it.
George Ellis is going to pass it off to Bush. Bush is going to look for the open teammate here. He's going to give it off to Davis. Davis is going to be heavily blocked by McKeeman. Over back to Bush. Bush is going to drive in a horrible pass to Matt Gray. And that's going to be off to Juwan Johnson and blocked out of bounds. But it looks like there's going to be a foul here.
It's not going to be a foul. They're going to call it dead ball, and they're going to give it back to the South Bend Adams team.
And Davis is going to throw it in for South Bend Adams. Take a quick look here. He's going to pass it all the way over. Stolen by McKeeman. He's going to drive in the key. He's going to get blocked, but he's going to pick up the rebound and throw it in for an easy foul. Easy layup there. Now your Chargers are ahead 32-9 as South Bend Adams with the ball.
And the story of the game is this Carroll defense eliminating the South Bend Adams so far to only 9 points as Ginder gets drilled with the personal.
Looks like Coach Abbott here is really fighting with his team right now. He's really giving them a hard time right now as something accordingly is not right for this team right now. But obviously it is because they're ahead 32-9. But Carroll Chargers in the second half, like you said, really good defensively. And that's what's really helped them. But a nice shot by Michael Bush. But surprised there wasn't a foul there by Chris Terry because he pushed off of Michael Bush.
And now on the other end of the court, we got a whistle, and I'm not really sure what they're going to call here. I'm looking over to the scorer's table.
Looks like they're going to give it off to Carroll.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure. They didn't whistle. There's no foul on the play. There's no timeout. So I'm not really sure what the issue down on the floor was. But the Chargers got away with another foul underneath, and talk about this game not being called and that time Chris Terry just threw the ball away. Terrible pass on the other side of the court. Now we got another travel, this time by Michael Bush. But I have to tell you, Nathan, this game has been so loosely called. I mean, it's been almost unbelievable how loosely this game's been called, and really, it's a shocker as Zach Vitro and Jordan Kerner will come in for Converset and Ginder.
Well, I think both teams, really, especially South Bend Adams, really sloppy tonight, especially with passing and especially with their handling the ball. But Carroll Chargers with the ball here. Feinberger, bring it. Going to get tossed to him, and he's going to bring it down and get it to Chris Terry. Chris Terry's going to be heavily blocked by Mark Burks. And he's going to pass it off to Zach
Vitro, who double dribbles. So it's another turnover.
It's going to be passed off to Zach Vitro, and he's going to double dribble. And now who's going to pass it is Terrell Gates. And if I may be correct, this is his first appearance in tonight's game. Looks like there's going to be a sub in. Dan Cavins is going to be subbed in for Tony Orr. And also coming in is number 31, Jordan Kerner.
Who came in for the first time? All right, so Michael Bush driving in, lost it out of bounds, back to the Chargers, and again, that could have been another foul called had this game being called more tightly because Bush had contact when he tried to throw that ball away and get it off.
Here we go. The ball is going to be thrown into Tony Orr. Tony Orr is going to drive it down the key. He's going to get up, going to get blocked.
But it'll stay with the Chargers. And the Chargers really pushed it, I thought, that time up the court needlessly. I thought that they might slow it up. He's talking about Tony Orr getting the ball on the South Bend Adams side of the court and then just charging up the court and not even stopping, not even looking, just looking to put up the shot and not looking for the pass-off. And the Chargers really, if they're going to be successful in this fourth quarter, even though they're lead 32-9 with just under 2:30 to play, you would have thought that they might slow it up a little bit and especially try and kill some clock here, but they continue to play at this frenetic pace.
South Bend Adams with the ball now. Michael Burks is going to try to almost traveling there, but he's going to pass it off to Terrell Gates. Terrell Gates is going to be fouled, looks like by Gutierrez.
Well, that was a great move underneath by South Bend Adams player as he begins to just do really what a pro hop was. He just got inside and was able to make a nice look off a pass. And that is the team's 7th foul. And
Zach Vitro is going to be charged with foul, his first foul of the game.
Number 24.
Terrell Gates is going to miss his first foul shot here.
Well, South Bend Adams just has not shot the ball well at all. They've missed so many shots. And it's really been inexcusable because they've had some looks. They've had some looks today. And really the Chargers, the holes that we have seen have been because they haven't always and completely been there on defensively. And they've let the outside shots go, and that's what South Bend hasn't been able to make, and even the free throws South Bend Adams isn't making.
Tony Orr is going to get stripped here. He's going to pass down to Michael Bush. He's going to miss the layup, but it's going to be a jump ball here.
And it should go back to the Chargers.
And South Bend Adams has really just been doing terrible getting the ball in the bucket. They have only gotten 10 points in this entire game out of so many opportunities. But it's going to go back to the Chargers, and Jordan Kern is going to throw it in. And now Chris Terry with the ball is going to drive it down the court. He's going to try to open look, going to give it off back to Kerner. Kerner's going to get off to Vitro. Easy layup, missed, but Tony Orr's going to get the rebound. Pass it off to Gutierrez. Travel called by Gutierrez.
And again, Gutierrez traveling on that one. That's again, this is really space time for some of these backups like Jordan Turner, Blake Fetro, and Keller Gutierrez, and even Tony Orr, who didn't start. And we saw Tanner Ginder and Jonathan McKeeman go into the guys' locker room just a moment ago, so they're going to get ready for the varsity game real quick.
And ball going to be passed. Now stolen by Gutierrez, but stolen back by Michael Bush. Michael Bush is going to hand it off to Stevie Thomas. He's going to be fouled by Gutierrez. Now it's going to... Looks like it's going to bring him to the line, but...
Carroll foul number 41, Keller Gutierrez.
And that will bring it to the line because they're in the penalty with the seven fouls in this game.
Number 10, Stevie Thomas.
Looks like Stevie Thomas is going to be the one shooting here.
And the bonus.
But as we've seen this entire game, South Bend Adams has not done a really good job at the outside shooting. I don't know about the varsity, but the JV is not doing very good tonight as Stevie Thomas makes his first his first foul shot here, but it's actually his first bucket tonight.
Well, his first point of the game. He hasn't made a field goal.
And then there's going to be a terrible pass. Fetro got the rebound here and trying to throw it off to Gutierrez in a terrible ball, but it's going to be tipped by South Bend Adams, and Gutierrez is going to throw it back in. Now with the ball is Kerner. Kerner's going to bring the ball down the key off to Tony Orr, and then Chris Terry
travels.
Looks like he's going to travel. And both teams here tonight have traveled so many times as they just can't get their feet planted, and really need to get control of that because that's costing their teams a bunch here. But South Bend Adams going to bring the ball. Mark Burks is going to make a three here.
So that is their first three of the game.
And Burks' first point of the game. As Tony Orr with the ball here now, he's going to pass it off to Terry. Terry's going to bring it back to Orr. Orr's going to try to get past his defense right here, but Gutierrez is going to get the ball. He's going to pass it back off to Jordan Kerner, corner off to Terry. Terry's going to, I don't know what he was quite doing there, trying to get to Fetro, but...
Yeah, it was kicked off the foot of, it looks like, Stevie Thomas that time. Just really kicks that ball away as he was trying to get it into Fetro.
Well, what I've noticed about this Carroll JV boys basketball team is they really make a lot of mistakes. They're really impatient, and they don't take their time at throwing the ball. But here go Gutierrez with the ball here. He's going to pass off to Tony Orr. Tony Orr's going to... Looks like he's going to give it back to... Going to shuffle around here, trying to find the open man. Going to give it off to Kerner.
And again off the foot. This time it will be off the foot of Terrell Gates, the sophomore.
Looks like Kerner's going to throw the ball into Tony Orr with 1 second left. There's the ball game as your Carroll Chargers win this one 32-14. The JV team pulled it out tonight. What a beautiful game. Not very beautiful, a lot of errors, but
stuff to work on there, Nate, and that's really what it comes down to. And definitely got to like the Chargers' effort tonight. We'll be back with your post game in just a moment. All right, it's Austin Fox and Nathan Weaver for CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
You're listening to CSBN, the Carroll Sports Broadcasting Network, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
Hello and welcome, Charger fans, to the post-game show. This junior varsity game brought to you by CSBN. CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports. For Austin Fox and Nathan Weaver, we just sat through a fast-paced, action-packed game where the Chargers win 32-14, thanks to Jonathan McKeeman's 12 points, and he is the player of the game. So congratulations to Jonathan McKeeman.
And he was very aggressive tonight as well.
Absolutely, Nathan, and definitely give him a lot of credit. Well, this has been a wrap of today's ball game. Austin Fox, Nathan Weaver, CSBN. CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports. Hope that you join us for the varsity game that's going to be coming up in just a moment. Actually, you're going to have to check out our other broadcast of the game. But signing off and saying so long from the Charger Fieldhouse, this is CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.
You've been listening to Charger Basketball on CSBN, the worldwide leader in Charger sports.